The decision of Nigeria's government to place moratorium on establishment of tertiary academic institutions is highly welcome. Uh, and part of the reason given by government is that some of the institutions are not highly patronized for want of students. That raises the issue of relevance, the relevance of the institutions, and the economic situation of today, created by the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Yes, there are. It's not for want of uh, applicants, but the financial capacity for Nigerian children to achieve much under a government that is impoverishing the populace, with particular reference to workers who are living from hand to mouth because of poor salaries, and businesses that are crumbling, going bankrupt because of paucity of patronage. A situation where workers are poorly paid and they cannot afford much in terms of buying things, and also making use of artisans. Mm? Look at drivers, commercial drivers. Once the cost of fuel, by the time they buy fuel, from whatever money they make, the money is gone. It's a pitiable situation. So it's not surprising that government itself has listed lack of patronage as one of the reasons to halt establishment of more tertiary academic institutions. On another note, there are those crediting the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities that has always opposed proliferation of academic institutions, particularly saying that the existing ones should be well equipped. But unfortunately, the leadership of the academic union, the leadership of ASU itself is almost totally, if not totally, blind to the proliferation of programs, departments, and faculties by the universities, by the existing universities. So when you blame government for lack of adequate infrastructure, including classrooms. Go to our federal universities and see the level of proliferation of programs, departments, and faculties. I was told of a vice chancellor that established a department that later became a faculty because of his child who studied something outside Nigeria that is not in that university. And the vice chancellor, because of that child, created a department and later became a faculty because of his child. So go and look at many of Nigerian universities' classrooms. They are eyesore. I remember that when I studied in Europe, a lecturer would come, sit to a table and microphone to address the class because they were big classes. The lecturer comes, some of them aged, but I don't think the table and chair and microphone were there because of the age of some of the lecturers, but because it is normal for a teacher to go into a classroom, sit if he wants to sit, stand if he wants to stand. But some of our universities don't have table and chair for teachers. No microphone. Yet, big classes. Big classes. So, little attention is paid even to the classroom. Are the ASU leaders protesting proliferation of universities not in those universities that are proliferating programs, buildings, departments, faculties? Yet, paucity of infrastructure. You will think that the tertiary education trust fund is meant only for buildings and not for equipping classroom and laboratories. And except as I'm saying it, so if you say there is no money, where are the universities administrators headed by professor vice chancellors getting money for the buildings? Endless buildings, buildings upon buildings, most of them not classroom. Yes. And equipment of classroom, making a classroom what it should be for the lecturer. If he's sick, if he has arthritis or whatever, he is expected to stand from beginning to the end of 2 hours or more hours lecture. Because lectures are usually 1 or 2 hours. Probably 3 hours sometimes, but even for 1 hour. For somebody in his 60s to stand for 1 hour, 2 hours, and even a teacher, a lecturer in his 50s or 40s to stand from class to class. So, yes, while they are praising the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities for always hammering on non-proliferation of academic institutions so as to equip and put the state-of-the-art equipment in the universities, why are they not questioning these mushrooming buildings, multiplication of programs, departments and faculties? Why are they not questioning? Hypocrisy. And the same ASU leadership that is fronting for universities, even carrying the university on its head to the extent of using strike to wreck the universities, going on strike for 6, 7, 8 months in a year. What is left for academics? So the priority of ASU leadership, a leadership that has said welfare of ASU members is not the overarching priority of ASU, but what? And as from 2012, ASU leadership doctored the Constitution of the Union to be extorting 2% of each ASU member's monthly salary monthly, and to increase or decrease the percentage as deems fit by the leadership. And so in 2024, increase the 2% to 3%, of each ASUU member's monthly salary monthly. Government and the leadership of the workers' unions always colluding to shortchange workers. And so government is cooperating with the leadership of ASUU to be extorting 2% 2012 to 2024, 3% 2024 till date. So welfare of the workers don't really matter to the unions leaders and to the government, but how to exploit the workers, colluding with workers unions, and workers unions becoming multimillionaire at the expense of the workers. Inhumanity of human beings to human beings. So the government that will not improve the salaries and allowances of workers. In the case of federal universities, the workers are not entitled to their allowances except as a bribe to the leaders of the unions, who give the workers what they want and take what they want. Before ASUU shares its own portion of the so-called end academic allowance, it will take 4% for the union at national level, another 2, 3 or 4% at the local level before sharing. Boko Haram. Oh my God, what a fantastic expression. Corruption, conspiracy, oh my God, of federal universities workers. Based on conspiracy of three forces: the leaders of the unions, the university administrators, and government. And so ASUU members and non-academic workers are working in the universities without their due allowances. That is the situation of Nigeria. So proliferation of academic institutions that ASUU leadership was always lamenting. Government is now ready for it. What about the welfare of the workers, academic and non-academic, who have been shortchanged by the leadership of the academic staff union of Nigerian universities, always getting fraudulent and academic allowance from government since 2013 till date, shared with the non-academic unions, which leaders also enjoy becoming automatic multimillionaire from fraudulent and academic allowance. What can be more shameful? Moratorium of 7 years without government establishing any academic new academic institutions. Congratulations. But the hypocrisy of government couples the hypocrisy of ASUU leaders, and there's a corollary: the non-academic unions leaders. Three forces bedeviling federal universities workers: the leaders of the workers unions, the university administrators, and government, colluding against fellow human beings, workers. Oh my God, God will not joke with anybody cheating, sweating workers, shortchanging workers. The Yoruba people say, traditional Yoruba people, oògùn aláàárù igbe, that don't allow the sweat of a laborer to dry before you pay the laborer. That means, because it's a proverb, that you don't shortchange laborers, workers. So you see, Nigeria is run aground because of Boko Haram. A union's leader doctoring the constitution of the union and calling it amendment, oligarchic amendment, amended by the leaders alone, empowering themselves to the point of, if you want to know what ASU leadership is doing with money, go to ASU secretariat. No accountability of any type. Just like Muhammadu Buhari and Bola Ahmed Tinubu double themselves as Nigeria's petroleum minister, accounting for nothing, whether as president or as petroleum minister. And even claiming fuel subsidy is gone. What is fuel subsidy? Or an excuse to escalate fuel price and declaring all subsidies gone. So what are you doing with the so-called fuel subsidy? What does fuel subsidy mean in a nation living on petroleum revenue? What does it mean? And why should Nigerians be deprived of all benefits that nations selling petroleum internationally should benefit?